Today, I am doing a Hershey Park tier list, and I am back. There should be a Twisted Timbers review pretty shortly after this tier list, but yeah, I'm back making long form videos now. The shorts, I skipped one day and then didn't post a lot of like off ride, but I still did like the daily Cedar Point, whatever. But yeah, I should be back fully now. But I made the tier list. And doing a Hershey Park tier list. I already said that. I'm already losing my mind. But yeah, this is gonna be. I already did one about all the roller coasters. Now I'm adding a couple rides in. The only ride I actually did ride was the Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, I think is what it's called. But Hershey Park doesn't really have a lot of rides outside of roller coasters. I know they have the drop towers, but when I went, it was raining all day, so most of the towers weren't open. So I wasn't able to do this, and then it's supposed to like kiddie ride, stuff like that. But I want to do a tier list of the different rides here. We are starting off with Jolly Rancher Remix. Nothing against the ride, but we're going F. Sorry. Now, this is like a bottom like 15 coaster I've ridden, I would say. It's not that great. Like, I like how it has the vest now. It doesn't have as much headbanginess, but still, like, the drops are like the only good part, and it's still rough. It's just not great, if you know what I mean. I just don't like not inverted coasters. I don't like the boomerangs. I said inverted coasters because the inverted one, or Invertigo at KI, but still, it's not that great, and it's probably going to be the only F tier on the list today. But we are going to go on to Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. I liked this ride a lot. It's neck and neck for Skyhawk for which one I like more. They're basically the same ride, except this one's bigger. This is actually the biggest one in the world. But it's still, looking at like the stuff that I'm seeing, this is like a good A. It's really good. These swings are huge. You get amazing airtime at the top. And on this side, respectively, there's like a huge drop-off that makes the ride seem even higher if you're sitting on these seats right here that look down over this ditch. It's phenomenal, and I really liked the direction that they went with this ride, and I hope they add more actual flat rides, because they have this, they have the different candy-themed drop towers, but other than that, it's a whole lot of nothing other than the roller coasters, and I would love to see more of this. We got Trailblazer up next. Not going to speak a lot on this one. It's just a mine train. It's a D. It's surprisingly smooth. It is smooth. One of the smoother rides in the park, I would say. The transitions are very janky, though. But the only thing is that, like, it's not that quick. Like, compared to, like, Adventure Express, this is not as thrilling. So, the transitions, you don't feel as much. But it's smooth, good family coaster. But another smooth kind of family thrill side ride would be Comet, in which I'm going to go, I think, C tier. When I did my actual ranking for the rides in the park, I think I accidentally had Comet too high. I don't remember fully, though. But it's definitely like a C tier ride. It's definitely very smooth. The first half has some good little airtime pops, but the second half is very lackluster. You have smaller airtime hills towards the ground that you don't really get a lot of airtime. But maybe that's just because it has the PTCs now. I never got to ride this with the buzz bars when there were basically no restraints whatsoever. So maybe with the buzz bars it was a little bit better. But with the PTCs, the final hills weren't that good. The first half was just alright, smooth, a couple airtime pops, but I still like Racer and Racer 75 a lot more. But onto the first super thrill ride, got Fahrenheit. This was one of the more underrated and more rides that I liked. I think this is a good A. I think it was my favorite looper from the park other than Wildcat's Revenge. It has 4 inversions. I wouldn't call it a looper, though. But I liked it more than Great Bear. I think it was severely underrated. The first drop was really, really good. Like, it's basically like Mavericks, but maybe not as good as Mavericks. Still really good, though. Great ejector. And then you have all these inversions. The first inversions, they're good. I think they're solid. The Cobra Roll is the roughest part, probably the worst part of the ride, but it's still decent. And then the ending is really where this ride shines a lot. The 2 whippy corkscrews I liked a lot. And then the final airtime hill was basically like a Maverick-style hill with amazing ejector airtime. I liked the 2 pops. All the inversions were pretty good, and it wasn't too rough either. We have Lightning Racer. This is a D. Didn't like it. I liked Comet a little bit more. I know that this was the third something GC I ever made. I know Wildcat was the first one. And then they bought another one, which 3 GCIs in the same park. I don't know what they were thinking. But this one isn't that great. The first half is not bad, being that it's like relatively smooth, with like a couple cool turns. But then the second half is just so slow. It's a little bit rougher than the first half. Definitely not good, being that obviously it's in D tier. I would say the racing / dueling ability is cool. And I will say, the one ride I had on this thing, our side did win. So that clearly means that we're better. But yeah, it's just not that good. I like Mystic a lot more. This doesn't have that much airtime. It's not the smoothest thing ever. And obviously they already have an RMC, so they probably won't RMC this one. But if they didn't have Wildcat's Revenge, I would seriously consider having this be an RMC'd. First S tier of the day, I think, is going to be Sky Rush. Only had one ride on this thing in the morning, but it's safe to say that my one ride on the outside back seat was very good. The first drop is one of the best I have experienced. Like, you go down, you get good ejector, and then there's like a hitch halfway down that just flings you out. And it doesn't make any sense, but it is incredible. And then after that, you just have a lot of low to the ground hills with good ejector, and then the valleys in between have a good amount of intensity. The second half isn't that great. I think that the Twisted Hill and the final hill aren't that good. Well, I won't say not that good. Not as good as the first two, being that I have a little bit of floater. Maybe if I rode it again later in the day, if it was actually open. Spoiler alert, it was only open in the first hour and a half of the day. So that's when I got my one ride. But maybe if I rode it later, those 2 hills could have converted to ejector. But I thought it was like a little bit short. It has the first drop, like 4 hills and like 4 turns, and that's it. And then you just have like, super wide turn into the brakes at the end. That's super slow. But hey, still a top 10 coaster. It's insanity. All right, you got another family coaster. We have Laugh Track. This is another C. It's a good family coaster. It's a family coaster, but the theming is so weird that it probably it's so weird. The inside section doesn't make any sense. It's like creepily weird, but I don't know. I guess it works. They're going for that thing. But overall, the ride's decent. I like the spinning factor. There weren't really many positive G's or nothing crazy like that. A couple like decent turns, but you're really in it for the theming. Indoor section was cool. I like how it's indoors. We rode this when it was raining a lot, so it protected us from the rain. That was good. But other than that, it's just a decent spinning family coaster. But next we have Candemonium, another A. I wouldn't say quite S, probably top of A. Really good B&M Hyper, even though it's probably the worst one that I've been on, being that I've had the luxury of riding maybe the 2 best ones, or at least the 2 best in the United States, in Mako and Diamondback. And this one has the Mako-style trains and that stuff, but it's not better than Mako. I think that the first drops are very similar. 5-second floater hill are very similar. This one has another hill and a speed hill that are both really good. And then the ending is very similar to Mako as well. You got a little turn around the fountain, nothing crazy. The outer bank, I was low-key hoping that this was actually going to be good, but it's just all right. There's no airtime. It's just like a cool little fling, you know what I mean? And then this hill has a little bit of floater. But I think I liked my rides on Diamondback and Mako a little bit more, being that those had stronger airtime. But this is still a very fun ride in this park, and another very fun ride in this park. Wildcat's Revenge. Top 5 coaster I've been on. Very neck and neck between this and Twisted Timbers. The more I reflect on Twisted Timbers, the more I love that thing. But Wildcat's Revenge probably has the better layout. I wouldn't even say probably. It does have the better layout. But Twisted Timbers was just flying that day that I rode it. But this thing is still incredible. Good first drop. The underflip is amazing. A good straight hill that follows. And then you just have the 0G stall, which is phenomenal. You have the little sideways ejector. You have the double down, which is absolutely criminal. It is insane. You get ejector. The first time I rode it, I didn't like it. I think that I'm starting to warm up to it a little bit after a couple rides of me knowing that it was going to be there. But you get good ejector while getting absolutely ragdolled to the left. It's not for everybody. For me, it wasn't all my first rides. Then you get another good pop of ejector. And then the ending is just all right. You have 2 0G rolls and like 1 pop of air. But really good ride from top to bottom. I love the RMC conversion that they did here. All right, 2 more to run through. We have Super Duper Looper, which I'm going to go C. It's okay. The loop isn't intense or anything. It's not that intense. And then you just have a lot of like small turns and stuff. It was really funny. There was this one guy. There's always this one guy when you're riding and they are just freakishly scared and they are screaming at the top of their lungs. Me and my friend were just laughing to him the entire time. And then it was even funnier. When he got off the ride, he was like, that wasn't that bad. Bro, you were screaming at the top of your lungs the entire time. It was hilarious. But the ride itself is all right. It's a C, and then Great Bear is probably going to be the only B tier ride for today. It's a good invert, but again, probably the worst one I've ridden. I very much enjoyed Raptor, Alpengeist, and Banshee more than this one. I think that is just too short. You have the loop, 0G roll, Immelman, and the little like helix thing in the air in the first drop, which is cool. Has a little bit of forces. But all the inversions are just all right. The loop is pretty intense. The 0G roll is good. Immelman's all right. And then you kind of ride over the water. You get a decent corkscrew. It's just decent, and then you're in the brakes. But it's not as intense as, like, Alpengeist or Whippier, in fact. And then, obviously, Raptor is more whippy, more intense. And then Banshee is just huge. I love the elements on that thing. I just think it can't touch those. But it's still a good looper. Not my favorite looper in the park. I like Fahrenheit more. But still, it's a decent invert. It's nothing bad here, man. All right, that was my tier list. In S, we got Wildcats Revenge and Skyrush. A, Candemonium, Fahrenheit, and Twizzlers. B, Great Bear. C, Super Duper Looper, Comet, and Laugh Track. D, Lightning Racer and Trailblazer. And then F, Jolly Rancher Remix. Tell me if I got the tier list wrong. Someone's probably going to tell me I did something or messed up something here. But it's my tier list, so I'm going to keep it how it is. But obviously, it's a good track list of different rides. I loved all the rides, except for Jolly Rancher Remix and Lightning Racer. Didn't enjoy those. But other than that, have a good day.